Thank you for joining me this hour. I have some exciting information to share with you. Thank you for listening to season 3 of Center of the Sun. Do you want to know what that information is? Well, it's for specifically black gay men on Twitter, but I'm getting into these fucked up groups we've self-sorted ourselves into. Personally, I've always been proud and tortured, fucking crazy, to be a part or to not be a part rather of any sort of like cool groups or whatever. But everything I believe happens for a reason. So thank God. Look here. You don't know it yet, but you are a fucking sheep or a robot or a cog in this machine, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. Either way you cut it, you are being tricked. And Birchbox, whatever the fuck movie they just did, is whatever they just made is an example, a very clear example of how we are being manipulated through our Twitter data. But it's season 3 of Center of the Sun. Thank you for listening. And I'm sharing with you my take on the top 4 Twitter personalities. Yes, it's the end of the year, end of 2018, going into 2019 in like 1 or 2 days. And personally, I love Freak Twitter because I am a freak. Like deep down, I feel like being a weirdo is my calling. And, you know, personally, I don't have the experiences to back it up, but I plan to create a plan for how to be a better whore in 2019. So coming to you, to a theater near you. My whole face is coming, yeah. Anyway, I love Freak Twitter for the lust and what else? The impulsive behavior and the public displays of sex and the fantasies of just being nasty and the fights. I'm not that deep in Black Twitter that I know who is who and who's fighting and why they're fighting, but I eventually figure it out after more people start talking about it. But all in all, I would just like to send a special shout out to Freak Twitter. Thank you for an awesome 2018. And if you have any advice for how I can be a better freak in 2019, please let me know, because I'm so nervous all the time. But when I get in the mood, I'm in there like swimwear. But outside of that, I'm a nervous wreck. I can't even watch strippers. What do you do when you look at a stripper? I don't know. You look away. That's what I think. But apparently you're not supposed to, because being aroused in public is socially acceptable when you're in front of a stripper. So no one told me that. I've only been in front of a stripper once or twice, and every time I'm like, why am I here? Because we should be naked in a bed. Like, why are we doing this in public? But anyway, Freak Twitter, thank you for making me more comfortable with myself. And all of these publicly horny black men, they just make my heart swell. And my dick swell. But I can never be so bold. Whether, well, it doesn't really matter. Well, I guess I can be that bold, but it's just like I'm bold in other ways. You catch my drift. Anyway, also, I love Freak Twitter because it doesn't matter how I feel or what is going on with my life. I open up Twitter. Freak Twitter is there to make me hump my bed all the time. I'm always like humping my bed because a lot of times I lay on my stomach and you don't realize you're going to be aroused until you're being aroused. And then all of a sudden, and then you're humping your bed. And then anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is your favorite Twitter tribe? You know, because clearly Freak Twitter is my favorite Twitter tribe that I'm not a part of. What is your favorite Twitter tribe that you're not a part of? Please let me know in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts, because I told you all last season that I create these shows like over the course of the week in which it's airing. So over the last 7 days, I've been trying to churn out a theme for this week, because I like to I want to be relevant, because eventually Center of the Sun will be a daily show. That's my hope. I want to be like Oprah, or I am Oprah, or whatever. How do you manifest that shit? You think about what Oprah feels like and you try to feel like that more. But I make these shows. I try to write a meditation or something that I can synthesize my thoughts in, because you can imagine, like, I have like 3 million thoughts, and then like I have to give you 1 or 2 on this show. Like, how do you get from 3 million? How do you whittle that shit down to a easily digestible and informative and engaging piece of content for an audience that I don't know and have never met? Because my fucking skill lies in my ability to read you as a human and then respond in an appropriate way. Like, that's my skill. But through the internet and through digital mediums, it's impossible, because language is more than words. And nobody knows that because they don't intuit language. They just wait for some sort of like expression, and then they respond, and not an expression like, oh, like this is a dance, whatever. No, because you can talk through any way that we will understand it. People just heavily rely on words and voice, and I don't know why. Because like, I've known from like the time I was born that language is like 10%, or like words are 10% of language, or whatever the hell it is. And I always was like, how did you get 10%? But as I grew up, I'm like, oh, because you literally work. It's like that's the basic form of our language. Are the words, are the letters themselves. That's the basic form. And then we add, oh, it's so fun. God, it's so fun. We add meaning and context and layers to like something flat and stupid, and we add meaning to it. But that's not the relevant question. That's not the relevant question. What is your favorite Twitter tribe? And I ask that because I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see how you conceptualize this space that we've created. And the way I've conceptualized this space is I get out my super binoculars. You know, I'm nosy as fuck. I get out my super feelings. I can feel like literally I have to take a beta blocker sometimes because y'all get my heart rate up. And I just people watch. I watch you. I watch your responses. I look through your comments. I look through, you know, I'm a nosy bitch. And not because I want to hurt anybody. It's because I literally don't understand why you're saying the things that you're saying online. And I'm trying to empathize with you. Because that's what empathy is. Empathy is nothing but listening to people and then like responding appropriately. Come on, it's not that hard. But I call that a skill because in my real life and my real day job is purely interactions with others. And online, you're so far removed from other people. Like, you have to be like, I sit in people's face and talk to them in their eyes, touching them every day. Like, literally, I sit there and I just talk about their life and their feelings, and I see how it changes over time. And there's like all this stuff. There's all this stuff all this context that we miss from social media because it's just like, it's a flash in a pan. Bam. Wham, bam, thank you, gender neutral. What? So, Twitter reminds me, so when I think of like this digital space, it's like, imagine yourself as a kid sitting on your mama's porch on a one-way street, like me, watching dumbasses just drive down the one-way street the wrong way. And for my entire life, I primarily lived on one-way streets, and they're dangerous as fuck. Like we would walk across the street and we'd be like, it's a one-way street. Like, you don't have to look both ways. Like, duh. And my uncle would be like, yeah, you do. You actually have to be more cautious on a one-way street because people just assume that they're always right. And I can't wait. And like, as a kid, I couldn't wait. Just like shout at somebody. I'll be watching for somebody to drive down the wrong side because it's like you're not paying attention. You're missing whole ass signs that say don't enter. You're obviously doing something you're not supposed to. Basically, as a child and as an adult, I'm the same person in which I analyze and deconstruct and then try to reconstruct every fucking thing. Thank God for that gift and a curse. But the way my brain is set up is like a supercomputer. Right? So the ability to travel backwards and forwards in time, I think, is possible because I feel like I experienced that when I recall memories, just like I did when I told you about this one-way street that I grew up on. But the point of it is, if you give your brain a puzzle, it'll eventually figure it out. I didn't know that people watching was literally me just wanting to connect with another human being, or like I'm seeing the expression that I'm seeing them express in whatever way they're expressing themselves through this stupid car. But I'm looking at them, I'm feeling something, I'm having a response, I'm trying to figure out what are they thinking, what are they doing in that car? And that's what I feel like Twitter is me sitting on a porch, just people watching, and it's just like, and I don't know these people from Adam's Tomcat. I never met you, never will, never desire to. You're not even that cute. Actually, if I look at you a little too long, you become less and less attractive. You know, it's just like all these things. I'm like, oh. So if I give myself a problem, I will eventually figure it out. And it's hard to talk about. I guess I wrote a good tweet today because I'm like, don't compare gay people. Sorry, don't compare gay people to pedophiles. Like, first of all, pedophilia is not a sexuality. First of all, can you please learn about sexuality? Because abusing children is like literally you're just a child abuser and a pedophile with myriad human emotions, but you're also still a pedophile. Like, that's separate and exclusive from, I don't know. Straight people, I pray for you every day. Jesus, help them. But Jesus, I'm just gonna lay it. Oh my God, when you say Jesus take the wheel, that's what that means. Like, if you give your brain a puzzle that it cannot figure out, sometimes you just have to give it to a higher being. My higher being is Jesus. Your higher being might be like, I don't know, Jehovah, or what are the Hindu people? I don't know. Like, your higher beings are different people. So I give mine to God or Jesus. Well, my God is Jesus, and he figures it out for me or helps me figure it out myself. But anyway, people watching. What the fuck am I talking about? People watching. And specifically, men on Twitter who identify as black and gay. Y'all are puzzling as fuck. So, in response, in true Twitter fashion, I want to boil you down into the least amount of characters as possible. So here are the 4 types. The 4 personality types I see on my timeline at any given point of my day on Twitter. First off, let's start with the Twitter elite. Oh my gosh. So the Twitter elite are the users who are the most elusive. What does elusive mean? Because I'm not entirely sure. Define elusive. I think it's like self-explanatory, as I don't know what it means. Deceptive, illusory. So I wouldn't say elusive in a deceptive. Well, I would say elusive, because what we're not understanding is the degree to which we are being manipulated by our Twitter personality, and the Twitter elite understand how to engage with us and also engage with us on a consistent basis. But it's normally just because they have like a large staff or marketing budget. So they say these like overarching, they say these things and they seemingly respond and want you to respond to them, but it's only for this like deceptive like marketing purpose. And it's not because they actually know any, so the Twitter elite, just like any elite, whatever, 1%, whatever, intention is different. So the intention of their presence is different. Therefore, because you can be easily deceived. So, that's just from the top level. I just see like, and that's what I talk about the Twitter elite. I'm like, who are y'all? And then the Twitter elite, they say the dumbest shit. That's the thing. It's like they have these tried and true zingers that they use, but like, when my analytical ass comes around, I'm like, wait, no, I don't make no sense. Like, that makes 0 sense. Like, for instance, there was somebody, and they make this generic ass, like, I can identify the Twitter elite like nobody's business. The Twitter elite, they make these, like, overarching things, like, oh my God, like, someone who has lacked diversity or adversity in their life, and they lack pain and they lack discomfort and and here's the result, and this is what happens with people like this. Skirt. Wait. So your dumbass thinks that people deserve pain and that when they lack it, it's a deficit? This is the kind of shit that I'm like, y'all not Twitter elite, y'all Twitter stupid. And also, you're not thinking about what you say because you're just saying things that you think are mainstream enough to get in a response out of us. So you say things like, you should lack diversity. Okay, well, the implication of lacking diversity is that diversity is preferred. A lack means you wanted it or needed it at some point. You don't need pain unless you actually believe that. Why is that your message? I personally believe that I actually should have never gone through any sort of discomfort. I don't deserve discomfort. Nobody deserves discomfort. It's just the reality of our fucking world. And because you went through a series of traumatic experiences and discomforts, you feel that other people should follow suit. No. You are elusive. I can't take it. Why are you promoting pain? Like, oh, Twitter elite, you promote pain, basically. Bam, that's it. Number 2, top 4 Twitter personality of 2018 is the medium ugly. Hashtag medium ugly. Okay. Oh yeah. So if you fall into Twitter elite, hashtag Twitter elite. Bam. Number 2, if you fall into hashtag medium ugly, please respond to hashtag medium ugly. Excuse me. Excuse me. Woo, coughing. Let me get it out because I'm excited. I'm sorry, I just coughed all into the mic, but I tried to turn my head. And it doesn't matter because the microphone, even if you turn your head, it sounds like a full cough into the mic. So it don't matter what you do. I learned that from Crystal. If she tries to laugh and like cough in the background, it doesn't work. But anyway, who are the hashtag medium ugly of Twitter? Well, the hashtag medium ugly, I chose medium ugly as a term because they created it. They're the kind of people that call people ugly on Twitter or in public, period. But they also drive the Twitter trends. So I would say Freak Twitter lives under medium ugly, hashtag medium ugly. Not that Freak Twitter lives in this tribe, but their popularity is perpetuated by this tribe. And they make sure that we can't look at Twitter in public. So hashtag medium ugly, you drive trends because you're the people that are constantly responding to things and responding to like the superficial things though. So our comedians, our people that are comedians out here making these golden tweets, platinum tweets, the self-deprecating comedians who talk about how ugly they are all the time, and I'm like, okay, no one cares. Or that they can't get girls or whatever it is, like, you lack joy, basically, but not because of anything wrong with you. It's just, you just lack joy. And then, so this is how you express yourself. But you don't express yourself through the creation of new joy. You just perpetuate the same shit that's already out there. So you're just a consumer. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And it's looking like, media, because I called it medium ugly. It's like, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you will, because medium ugly is a term created by this group of people because they call people ugly, or they call people medium ugly, or they give levels to like the dumbest shit. They basically this group fundamentally believes that physical attraction is the art. So, as a result, they call people medium ugly, or they call people just flat out ugly, or they call, they are the bullies. They can be the bullies, but on a positive note, they also are the people that drive Twitter, and they drive the joy that already exists on Twitter, but because they lack joy in their own, possibly in their own life, that it's hard to create new joy. if it doesn't already like flow out of you. Because not everybody has the ability to be joyful like my dumbass. But the main thing about this, just like the Twitter elite, the main thing about the Twitter elite is that they probably have a staff behind them, or some sort of marketing budget or corporation or some other like elusive organization trying to manipulate us and get our dollars. Those under Medium Ugly, they believe that that physical attraction is art. Like like a selfie is art. Like it's just a selfie. And what I've seen and why I think that this is a huge problem is because it leads to insecurity, which leads to projecting. So like, even though you feel insecure about yourself, you won't say it outright about yourself, but you'll identify that in someone else, or you identify it in someone else when it's not true about them, but it's true about you. That's what projection is. And this lack of, or this belief in physical attraction as pure art creates this, what I've observed on Twitter is people lashing out at innocent bystanders because you think of your position as a pretty person gives you some sort of like value over someone else. You start lashing out at bystanders because you know that's not true. Your soul knows that that's not true. You know that you were literally just lucky by your, like literally, and you better count your fucking blessings because that shit fades over time too. So lashing out at innocent bystanders, I identify that as just straight up depression. You just are unhappy across the board and you can't even see the humanity in an innocent bystander long enough to not be mean to them. Like, what? And, I like to understand people, so I see it less as a deficit and more as like just the seeking of validation by you. Hurt people. That's it. It's just a real life. I do it all the time, and I actually have to limit myself from being an internet troll. Because sometimes I'm just mad and I just want to be angry and I just like fussing because my mom is black. So, I mean, it's just like, my culture is a fussing culture. Just being mad, and not mad, but just being fussy and just grouchy. But it creates these groups like hashtag Medium Ugly, hashtag Top 4, hashtag the King of Rap or the R&B, whatever the fuck they're fighting over today. It's just this obsession with superlatives, and superlatives are like the funniest or the most likely to succeed. Like these superlatives that we should not be falling under. It's like high school all over again, or college, all of it. It's like life all over. It's just like life, just patterns of life happening over and over a fucking again. There aren't superlatives. No one is better than anyone else, and you know what? Everybody deserves motherfucking joy. So there you are. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you are Medium Ugly, please comment below. Hashtag Medium Ugly. Number 3, hashtag Standard Bearer. Doesn't that just sound wholesome as fuck? Well, that's also an elusive term because I'm a music producer, so when I think of a standard bearer, I think of like a compressor, something like, so we're just gonna put some compression on our mix, like limit the highs, just make sure we don't go too low. Our standard bearers on Twitter are the people that like control the conversation to make sure that we're not being too mean, which isn't necessary because they come and they like, hey, hold on, this is how the world works. This is this is reality. Don't forget. So sometimes reality is good to be reminded of. Also, they make sure that we're not being too nice by making sure that we understand why the fuck Twitter exists. And it's not because we're being nice to each other. It's because we're being real people on the internet. Like, that's what it is. So basically, they're the police officers of Twitter. Our hashtag standard bearers are the people that are like the right hand of the leader, like they're Jesus' right hand, or they're the clout chasers. Let's say it like that. They're the clout chasers. Basically, the standard bearers are the clout chasers or the tweet stealers, just because they just want to fit in. They want the barrier. They want the standard to be the reality of our work, of our experience on Twitter. So, but everyone wants to fit in, which is not odd. Everyone wants to fit in, everyone wants to feel loved, everyone wants to feel liked, but everyone also wants to feel valued in their humanity as well. So, as a result, our standard bearers are just our resident contrarians, our resident devil's advocates. You know, like people are like, but like, what? Like, nah, you going all deep in some weeds that are not relevant. And if you allow us, if we had more than 280 characters, we could explain it to you. But this ain't a fucking essay. So we need you to like do some homework and like pre-plan your experience on Twitter, because we don't have time to unpack all of your antiquated ideas, even though we perpetuate them on a daily basis. But we also don't want to continue. We want to chip them away a little. We can't just change the world like that. So we have to adhere to something. We have to adhere to somebody's rules at some point, but we also can dismantle them at the same time. So these resident contrarians and these resident devil's advocates and these anti-creators a lot of times feel justified in devaluing the humanity of like any marginalized person who has anything to say about their fucked up worldview. Also, our hashtag standard bearers are low-key and high-key obsessed with rape culture. I don't know why. And violence against women. Like, I don't know why. Hashtag standard bearers refuse to understand anything outside of their fucked up life. Fundamental Christians. Like, I'm giving you two spectrums. Fundamental Christians. I don't know why you have to share your views when we've already accepted Christianity as mainstream. Like, why do you keep fucking with us and making us like look at the Bible and like, don't try to devalue my teaching, my upbringing, and the way I've learned the Bible, because it's just as fundamental as you. But I didn't stay there in that space. I continued learning about why I was taught that. And then it just opens up more thoughts. Like, the more you think, the more you'll think. So atheists on the same fucking universe, on the same spectrum, always declaring that somebody or somebody's God isn't real or not true, or that our feelings are not valid. Like, how the fuck, who gave you the audacity to even have an opinion? If you don't believe in God, then take your non-believing ass somewhere else. Just like you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. Anyway, these deeply religious, deeply fundamental people, largely straight people who've never had to work a day in their life. These people, so our standard bearers, they are blessed and highly favored because they largely get to live in a world where their privilege is, or they are given privilege, so they don't even have to worry about the effects of their actions or the effects of their fucked up worldviews, or why their worldviews are fucked up in the first place. So that's a weird, like, awkward smile. I'm like giving you an awkward smile, wink, nod thing with my tongue out. Because I'm like, oh, thanks for coming. You're so fun. Yeah, thanks for killing the party. But these are the people that, with every society, any reality, we need levels to it, basically. And not that any level is better than the other. We need layers, not levels, layers. How about those apples? How about that onion, though? Okay. Hashtag standard bearer. Fourth group. And it's the best group because I'm in this group. And of course, these are just arbitrary groups, but this is what I feel like is true. Like, this is my reality. This is the mansion. Anyway, hashtag empath. Hashtag empathy. Hashtag empath. Basically, we are the hippies. We are the people that are just here for the human connection because we probably lack it in our daily life. Hashtag empaths value spaces of art and wisdom sharing more than spaces of vanity and like just regular cultural sharing. So like, I want to see music and like original paintings, as opposed to some people only want to see what happened on Love and Hip Hop last night and who has the best abs. Like, I also want to know those things, but I do not. But when I approach a space, that's not the first thing I seek, basically. Anyway, I'm seeking out feelings. I'm seeking out good feelings. Sometimes good feelings are in the form of a selfie, or looking at someone's beautiful face, or perceiving someone as beautiful when they don't perceive themselves as such. Like, sometimes that is just as fulfilling as seeing a weird piece of art. But when I think of my state of being on the internet, I think of art, and I think of wisdom and information sharing more than I think of selfies, because selfies, I think the words will be more permanent than the images will be, just because I think words are just smaller bits of information, just purely, you know, when it comes down to it, what can like get from okay, so when it boils down to it, what can get from point A to point B the fastest? It's just the smallest bit of information is like a fucking dot, and a few dots is a word, but like you need like a million dots for a picture. Like, come on. So I just value, that's what I think the internet should be, pictures included, but like not only. I think our words are more impactful because we can fit more words, we can put more meaning in the dots of words than the dot of a picture, the dot matrix of a picture. Anyway, do you know anything about printers? Well, clearly I'm a nerd because I know how printers work. But anyway, I like to value art and wisdom over vanity. On another note, hashtag empaths are most likely naturally just attractive and smart. So being an empath is easy because that's just how I was born. Like, unfortunately, not everybody was born with these facial bones and this skin tone and this vocal cords and these eyelash. You know, like, not everybody has the same setup as me. Thank you, Lord, for it, because I don't have to do anything special. But a lot of people, they don't get the space to be an empath because they have never gotten the space because of their outward appearance. And literally, I believe social media, or hashtag empaths believe that social media is a space, or hashtag empaths believe social media is more of a social space because they've been given that in their development as humans, that space to express their emotions in their daily lives without repercussion, and being able, and a lot of people like me were given the opportunity to be me, if that makes any sense. So when people are intentionally vapid or just plain stupid, I'm surprised. Like, we're surprised every time. We're like, how did we get here? The world is ending because no one understands and no one cares. But we're often labeled as sensitive Twitter just because we just want to be understood. It's just like, wait, so because we've probably been sheltered and are literally naive, when we interact with people of differing backgrounds or differing opinions, we have a weird, we don't understand it because we have never been able, it's never been in our reality to do so. So hashtag empaths may do stuff like respond and compose tweets without even reading them or proofreading them, or checking our facts or reading the actual article past the headline. It's very funny how we interact with people on Twitter. Specifically me, because I'm just I just want to talk. I literally just want to talk. I would be fine if nobody said anything, if they literally just said their feelings, they didn't say anything relevant about me or whatever. I just want to talk. And that's what people, I think, hashtag empaths are like on Twitter, because literally our purpose is literally to talk and just to be like, hey, how you doing? I'm great. How are you? And those people who say, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. How are you doing? And the people that stay to say and state how they're doing, that's the kind of person that I am. I want to listen to the dumbass that actually says how they're doing. And I read your tweets and I'm like, oh my God. And I read your tweets because those are your feelings. And you didn't say that, you wouldn't have said it if it wasn't important. And maybe it's not important past that moment, but like in that moment, it was important enough for you to say it. So I want to understand why you said it. Hashtag empath. That's it. And so I found myself with the empaths. You know, the feeling people, the people with all the feelings that are just constantly being reactionary to stuff, and not reactionary in the sense that we want people to be less expressive, like the standard bearers. They want you to be less expressive. They want everything to be just as it always was. Stop being yourself, but laugh, 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 laugh. I'm cool too. Don't you see? You know, like there's a difference. And I found myself with the empaths. Or I found myself identifying with the empaths, literally because someone was like, can we leave sensitive Twitter in 2019? No. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to drum up sensitive Twitter even more. And we're going to be more sensitive and we're going to respond even more. How about those apples? How about that onion, bitch? Because I like being me. I like feeling my emotions. I like talking about my dreams, real or while I'm sleeping. I like understanding how I relate to everyone and everyone else. Yes, I mainly thirst follow porn stars. Hey, Daddy Cream. Why is Daddy Cream my favorite porn star? I don't know. It's just something about him. It's just like, he just like is just like chilling. I don't even know if he likes his job. Honestly, he don't even look like he likes it. He just likes chilling out. So this is the path he's taken. But I mainly follow pages like Daddy Cream because there's something, it's not anything about his sex or sexuality. It's just something about him that I like and I can't figure it out. And if I look too long, I probably will find more reasons to not like him than I do like him. But from afar, you know, I mainly thirst follow porn stars. I thirst follow freak pages and the scammers who figured out how to be better than me and lie better than me and stunt better than me. But tell me why, and I paused for a second because I almost didn't say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it because fuck it, it's 2019. So on the same vein of like following like Daddy Cream, it's not because, so okay, let me explain to you why I follow porn stars on Twitter. I follow porn stars, I follow freak pages, I like stuff. I'm not afraid to express my sexuality on Twitter because everyone else is doing it like insufferably, but it's fine. But tell me why, like, secretly I like want to be like gang banged in Chicago by like a group of like 5 handsome black guys. You don't have to be dark skinned, you know, just whatever, just be black, please. And well, listen up. So I want to tell you why, but I don't want you to judge me as like being a dirty whore. So, but you know, it's about to be 2019, deepest desires all 2019. So I can move on and move up, like, so I can ascend as a human. If I can get all the lower vibration out of my system, I think I can start ascending or growing up. That's what they call growing up. You like move past your old ways and you come into new ways. When I was a child, spoke as a child. Yeah. So here it is. Every day, I wake up in a body that only craves dick. Morning, noon, night. It's exhausting. Mainly because the series of emotions that I want to experience is not relevant to anyone or anybody in this region because they do not have the experiences that I have. They do not experience reality in sexual attraction in a way that I experience it. Or they just don't wish to have that same experience as me, so it never dawns on them and whatever. But I'm tired of this reality because I want to let my freak flag fly as 4 bird pussies, as high as 4 bird pussies. Learned that from a crackhead. I want to let my freak flag fly as high as 4 bird pussies. So let me tell you, okay, you can tell when a bottom is getting dug out, right? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad I asked because they make certain sounds that can only be achieved when like the dick is too big or too many or whatever. And bottoms know when there's nothing else to do, give it to God, or scream. You know, like once you are done screaming, you've screamed enough, you've ran enough, you know, you shifted your asshole enough, all you could. That man is still back there getting his life. And you don't want to, you know, you're like, okay, this is discomfort, but it's not painful. I asked for this. I know from past experiences that if I let go, maybe it'll stop being discomforting. And sometimes when you're in that moment, you're like, what do I do? Do I tell him to stop or do I keep going? You have to make a decision, because if you tell him to stop, he could keep going. Which is called rape, and we're not going to laugh about that. But if you tell him to stop, he could he could keep going. If you don't tell him to stop, you don't know what the future holds. So why am I saying this? Because when bottoms know that there's nothing else to do, you just like curl your toes, or you grab the sheet, or you try to grab for something, you try to release your energy in some other way, but you just can't. You just can't. And when this happens, the horror in me, like when I watch a porn, like this is why I follow pornos and stuff, because it's far and few between. It's very rare to see a genuine reaction like this. But if you can find it, it's like instantly like everything that I ever wanted in a porno. But you see the bottom start to curl their toes, start clenching the sheet, they start making noises that you can only recreate when you're in the moment. And I know this for a fact because I lie a lot in sex. And not because I like am faking or whatever, it's just because like in order for men to feel valued, you have to moan a little bit or like do a little bit extra just to like make them feel like the man. And I want my man to feel like the man because he's making me feel like the man by giving me the business. I want to give, the same thing. So, and it's not inauthentic. It's just like I could also be silent and it would be and I would have the same experience. That's what I think like when I say fake, like it's not like I'm not compelled. It's because I choose to act a certain way. Anyway, the horror in me knows when bliss occurs in a porn. And my favorite pornos have been when the bottom's behavior is controlled but expressive in its nuance, And then I can't stop fantasizing about the interactions between the men before and after the film, or lack thereof, or interaction, or a lack of interaction thereof. I started asking myself, like, are they friends? Like, how do they come to this point? Because strangers don't act like this for a quick dollar, and if they do, woo chile, wow, that was very expressive and very impressive. Are they partners? Because sometimes, passion. This is the kind of partner I'm trying to have. Can I have a partner who is just as like weird and freaky as me and that wants to like be themselves? I don't know. I think it's cute. Like freaky partners that like swingers and shit. But I know that like when I look at freak Twitter, my eyeballs are interpreting an image, but I can't come until I close my eyes and use my own imagination. In my dimension, I create like an entire universe, and it's dark. It's like a shimmer that I can only describe. I can't describe because it's a darkness, but it's not dark. It's darkness because it lacks UV light, but it's not dark. It's dark to us because we only see UV light most of the time, all the time. So when we lack that, we call it dark. So my dimension is relatively dark. And when my eyeballs interpret certain images, I create a dimension, a universe, or just like a narrative and a setting and a scene, and all of that new information is combined with the old information, the old hoe data that's already existing in my brain, the memories, if you will, my spank bank. I don't know why I had to enunciate the K so much, spank bank, but that's what makes my dick hard. It's the layers, it's the nuance, it's the onion, you know? The layers behind that thing that I'm looking at. And we're not conscious of it because our brains move so fast that it's just like one experience, but it's like an infinite number of experiences packed into one moment. Is kind of how I conceptualize it. And that's what I think about layers. It's all the different possible things we think about. When looking at one image, we think of like a million infinite things. We don't even realize it because our brain just pares it down so quickly and figures out, why are we looking at this? And then we say, oh, because, you know, but we've literally considered a million and one different reasons why that we had that reaction. And then our brain gives us the most logical one because we're fucking whatever. But the memories and the layers that are created from me looking at that image. Tell me in the comments whether or not you intuit layers of existence, because it's hard to articulate. And I'm trying to articulate it, but sometimes, because like sometimes it's the actual person, like it's the person getting their yammies pounded. But most times it's not even that. It's not even that. And I could look at anybody get fucked, whatever, it's fine, and not even have a reaction. But sometimes it's the condition of the boy pussy afterwards, or it's the energy between them at the beginning before they even got there. Because I intuited all the possible futures and like the intensity of it. Because a destroyed boy pussy is nothing but like an intense amount of sex. I don't care. I'm not aroused by the actual genitals, and you know, it's the intensity and the energy that created it in the first place. And then my nasty brain creates all of the details in between the beginning and the end. Here's the kicker. I can intuitively, in addition to like create the space, I can intuitively place myself there. Like in whatever scene or setting I choose, I like close my eyes, I create the scene, and then I teleport to a land of freaky, horny men who never wear condoms, basically. Every time. That's porn for me. That's literally sexual arousal. And that's why I like have to choose not to have sex, because like if I give myself more data to just think about all the time, I feel all the feelings, smell all the smells, hear all the sounds, touch all the surfaces, so on and so forth. I know it's real, and then I bust. You know? Okay, here's another example that no one ever addresses that might be easier to understand. I see men on Twitter, Freak Twitter. So we're just Freak Twitter. Today's about Freak Twitter. Hashtag Freak Twitter. Shout out to you. Thank you for 2018 that I will never forget. But anyway, like a man, like, okay, on Freak Twitter, like men always pull out their dicks and be like, oh, come over and show daddy who's boss. You know, come look at this picture of my musty genitals and show me who's boss. And there's always mixed reactions. Oh, musty balls. Oh, musty dick. Like, I don't know why anybody would ever want that. Da da da. And I swear, like, this is exactly when. What are my groups called? Oh my God, I forgot what they're called. Oh, Medium Ugly. Okay. No. Standard Bears. So the hashtag Medium Ugly, they're the ones that are sharing this picture. They're the ones that are having a reaction, and they don't even know what they're doing. They're just creating reactions and just reacting, and being ridiculous, and probably being mean, and probably like not caring about anybody's feelings, but they're making Twitter what Twitter is. And they drive the narrative. And then my dumbass, the hashtag empaths come in, and they're like, but wait, so we have our other people that are responding, and they're like, well, I love musty dicks. I love musty balls. Like, I run home to my musty dick and ball, like, da, da, da. And then they start arguing, and they talk about how nasty they are and how gross they are. It's just like medium ugly against medium ugly. Or not medium ugly, damn it. Standard Bearer against Standard Bearer. Or Standard Bearer against Medium Ugly. I don't know, but it's two opposing groups against, one against another. And then my dumbass comes in, and I'm like, but I digress. Why are we ignoring our tangible communication, our tangible connection with other humans? Like, y'all don't realize that deodorant is a new invention in human history, and that pheromones, our ability to like release smells off of our body, and specifically hormones that are received by another party, and then that's how we choose our sexual partners. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean this is nasty? There's nothing good or bad, you know? Like, so that's my role. And nonetheless, my reaction is always favorable when I see a picture of long pubic hairs with a descriptive caption about musty balls. Like, I always am gonna be like, hell yeah. And then it got me thinking, why do I think that? Why do I bookmark these tweets instead of like them so that everybody can, you know, not see my deepest, darkest desires about musty balls? Is it because I just like smelling a man? No. Actually, I'm embarrassed to like them in public because y'all are probably gonna talk about me in your group chat anyway. And in actuality, I'm like everyone else. I'll probably gag because it's, you know, at the end of the day, it is a toxic soup of bacteria and bodily excretions. But my imagination, though. So my imagination could supersede all of my biology. All of my biological red flags are turned off because I begin constructing a timeline of hypermasculinity and the hypermasculine things that he did or he just got done doing to get to that point of being so dirty. First things first, if a man says that, you know, on the internet says something like that on the internet about his musty whatever, he is horny beyond belief, period, because he can't talk about anything other than sex at this point. He don't care what anyone says. And then he's just literally throwing out a fishnet and getting a response. And the first person that responds is probably the person that he'll have sex with or exchange nudes with or whatever it is. And it's probably, you know, to be honest, that person just is a highly sexual person in the first place. And that it was always on their mind to begin with. But also in my mind, I'm imagining all the things that he could have done that required him to exert that much intense physical effort to the point that now he's tired and begging for sex on the internet. Sports, manual labor, any of them, all turn-ons, I'll take it. You want to be a man's man? Go out and be a man's man. I'll make sure that you do not feel bad about it when you come back home. Yeah, imagine myself. I'm just imagining myself like greeting a husband at the long end of a long day, even though I'm going to be the pants anyway. But at this point, I'm either so in love or so horny that I don't care either. Either state of being is bliss, and I would like to achieve either state of being. Freak Twitter or wholesome Twitter, whichever one comes first. Either one, musty balls would not be a deal breaker in either situation. So I'm trying to be either one. I'm cool. Like, whatever the situation is, if the result is musty balls, I'll take it. What are your thoughts? Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. In the words of Ariana Grande, thank you, thanks, or thank you, yes, or whatever the hell, you know, I want. Ooh, I can just sit here all day and scroll through Twitter. But, you know, and then Siri's dumbass over here trying to make sure I know that I just spent 7 hours on here. I know. Thanks, honey. My hand hurts. And at this rate, I know how much work I put into Twitter because it's equal to the amount of work I put into my job. Of course I know. Anyway, so what's the best thing about social media, specifically Twitter? You ask. Oh yeah, we're not done. What you thought season 3 was going to be shorter? No, bitch, we're refining our message. Oprah never had a new message. She only refined the same one. Beyonce never created a new message. She only refined the same one. Tyler Perry keeps getting contracts because he does not create new messages. He only refines and regurgitates the same fucking ones, even though I don't agree with him. Anyway, what's the best thing about social media? Huh? Well, specifically Twitter, the best thing about Twitter is that she is alive. Yes, she She is a creature that we continue to give life. We feed it. We nurture it. We talk to it real nice and pretty. We marvel at her splendor every day. She's largely untouched by outside forces like robot attempts to control our attention through an algorithm. That's why Facebook is like constantly being called to speak to the fucking Congress, because they crafted a way literally to get people to come back to their site. And it's backfired because in reality it was a manipulation and deception. And the perps got caught and they're dumb. And that's what they get because they're going to hell. Where Facebook saw lack, Twitter saw opportunity. And it's a perfect example because if you leave a space empty enough for long enough, it will be filled with something. And technology is the product. So any website, any app you use, you're not using it because of the people or like what you can buy on it. It's literally the technology itself, the code that created the app is the product. And that everything that happens afterward is just literally like the result or the cherry on top. But our happiness is not a concern. They're not spreading happiness and they're not spreading love. Literally, these sites' main purpose is to profit. And this usually comes in the form of attention. The more attention you garner, the more people you are likely to buy something. Or the more likely people are to buy something from you. And Twitter is no different. But Twitter does one thing very well. Twitter gives users the ability to scroll continuously and receive live breaking information and other juicy bits of information as it happens. And then it goes away and you literally don't see it again unless more people like it and they create a way for it to be perpetuated. And Twitter, as a result, has created a nice little lane for itself as these other networks have adapted and pivoted to advertisers and stuff. Twitter has pivoted and done all that stuff, and their leadership is trash sometimes, but the product itself is solid. The technology, the code, the reason we're here is solid. And to be perfectly honest, it's fun. And they let us see porn, so we'll take it. Basically, Twitter is a testament in how you shape your own life or like create an entirely new one, because that's what Twitter is. It's a new or novel technology. How did a bunch of random, probably like little skinny white boys, a bunch of skinny little white boys who had an interesting and just normal life, how did they create this larger beast? And then that we've projected our own layers and our own context onto. The website has definitely changed, but in ways that we did not, that I see as more promoting and growing the network, not just a pivot. You know, they're not reacting. They're constant. And Twitter just kind of makes decisions and we don't understand them. And then 10 years later, we're like, but you still exist, so I guess you're right. So it's fine. When other social networks don't exist, they only go for whatever flash in the pan and never really grow. And now Donald Trump is a large user of Twitter. You know, like there are people that keep Twitter alive just because they don't know how to use anything else, which is completely fine. But that's the reality that's reality, basically. Okay. Now, speaking to the economic health of the network, that would be an assumption at best. But in terms of the life that I've gotten from this network, the looking, the scrolling, the interacting, the responding, I don't know if I would get that anywhere else. And then I get my life, and then I even create subculture within Twitter by observing people and then creating my own categories. And I did call it self-sorted, but I sorted you all by myself and kind of dragged you a little bit, because that's the nature of Twitter. And we motivate and perpetuate all messages rather. So here's something stupid that you've never realized, okay? Buckle up. Is it on? Is it tight? Okay. The words that are on Twitter, the words that we write on Twitter, read on Twitter, speak, dream, they come out of our brain, period. No one acknowledges the complex process that it took to get you to this moment. Even if you never did well in school or ever went to school or stopped school at a certain, on some non-mainstream way of going to school, or you were born and raised in the rural area, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Your purpose as a human being is to be born, to speak, and most likely to do something with your hands, like write. Or the first thing you do with your hands is play, and then you write. You're supposed to use your hands. You're supposed to use your voice. You're supposed to use your brain. You're supposed to use your hands or your body. Then you're told to let your light shine across the world in the form of an expression, like kids singing in choirs and stuff. Like, that's not small stuff. We're teaching children how to be a human. Look, an expression created Twitter. Someone woke up one day and put a bunch of codes together that made a computer do something specific, like create a website. The creators of that website were able to organize their thoughts in such a way that it got other people to give them money to keep building that website. When I talk about energy and manifestation, this is what I'm talking about. Without your initial thoughts, no one can respond to you. As customers of Twitter, we responded to Twitter and those investors with an expression by simply using their technology. We log in, we give them a username, we give them words to identify us. These are all expressions. You start this process all over again. Then you start waking up, putting words together, telling this computer to do something specific. And then you're able to organize your thoughts in such a way that other people give you attention. Maybe not money, and they might give you money. Shit. I'm figuring out a way to do that too. But you start the process all over again when you think of ways to get expressions from other people who also use the technology. So you use more expressions to get more responses. Eventually, those people follow your work. They seek out your expressions. They get into the habit of responding. You know where I'm going with this? Those responses, seemingly arbitrary at the moment, ruminate within the receiver's mind. When you see something online, you don't forget it. You feel like it's like not real because it's a digital space, and then you have other tangible other things to do, but there's levels to life, bitch. And it gets jumbled up in the mess of thoughts and words that someone or that you experienced all day. That's why you have like a dream about it. You know, you have dreams about stuff because all that jumbled up mess is trying to be synthesized by your brain. Because if you give your brain a problem, if you give it data, it will try to organize it. Then it's like a wildfire. It just keeps happening. And it's been happening since the first human. It's just like this. And this is the consciousness. This is the energy that we're talking about. It's not, and it's like we want it, when we say energy, we want to be able to spread out our hand and grab it and pull it back into us and get hurt by it or feel it or see it or something. No. It's like everything is energy. So when you think of consciousness, when you think of your consciousness, you're throwing energetic information into a web. And our thoughts are tangible. And they're tangible in a way that when we combine them with matter, with hard stuff, we create something out of nothing. So, on Twitter, we've been able to create something out of nothing, and we love it. And one day it won't exist anymore, but that's how life works. So today, what are you creating? Let me know in the comments. Also, you can email me at host@centersun21.com. Peace out.